Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Again, I bring back Ivelin. It's been a little while since he's been on, so I'm really happy to have him on today. He's got some predictions. Guys who know Ivelin from Orange Hack, the group, and plus he has his own event. He's one of the leading, for me, one of the leading guys within the scene because he does lots of testing. Welcome today, Ivelin. How you doing?
Very good, Ted. Thanks for having me.
Cool. For those who are not aware of like your work and stuff, do you want to give them a bit of background on what you do, etc.?
Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of people ask me, how do you know this stuff, and who is your source? So, just a little background for people who don't know, if they're not in my group. So, around 5 years ago, we built that system to follow the terms of service in the help section on Amazon.
Yeah.
Because we had at that point about 500 products, so we wanted to know if something changed, we want to be compliant.
Yeah.
So I started posting in the groups, and people get interested, and they're like, "Hey, can you follow also the algorithm? And can you follow?" And so we developed these systems, basically detecting changes in the code, and then we analyze that and we're trying to make sense of that.
Yeah.
And we talk about this that sometimes we're terribly wrong in the conclusions. But most of the times, it's very exciting news for everyone who can hear the news first, right?
Yeah.
So wrong or right, we're trying to share the information, and then we try to make a sense out of that information.
Yeah. I mean, I go to the same thing. For me, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about getting the right result. And so sometimes you have to speculate. You set your testing, your hypothesis, and you'll get it right and you'll get it wrong. But most importantly is the fact that you carry on testing, and that's what keeps you up to date and ahead of what's going on out there. Because obviously Amazon moves at a rapid pace, and if you took 6 months out of the game, the landscape changes quite heavily, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's very exciting. Like the last few weeks, they implement new changes in the system. As soon as they do, they make mistakes. This opens new loopholes in the system.
Yeah.
So for me, that's very exciting.
Definitely. Well, look, let's go through some of these. There's a list of items that you've discovered. I'll start running through them, and then if you can break them down to the audience and give us your feedback on them. So just starting with the dot search hack has been removed. So do you want to explain what the dot search hack is?
Yeah. For a number of years now, most people who've been on Amazon, they know that if you go to a specific category, and then in the search bar, if you type a dot, Amazon will return the 5 most searched keywords in that category. So that was very good information when you're sourcing a product, and especially if you combine that with the search volume information, it was invaluable insight, right? So right now they took it down after so many years. So it's not available anymore.
Yeah.
So they're closing loop after loop because a lot of this information is leaking online. It's a big machine, but eventually they catch up and they close them down. The good news is that as soon as they close a loophole, a new one opens.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is just discover the new one. So it's very exciting. We took advantage of that before. Now I have to explore the new stuff.
Yeah, sounds good. Negative search has been removed. Talk me through that as well.
Yeah, so the example I'm giving is when you look for a notebook, it could be a laptop or it could be a notebook that you write on. So if you want to get more specific, Amazon allowed you to exclude certain keywords. So for example, if you exclude DVD if you type notebook minus DVD, it will exclude DVD from the search results. So it's a basic operator that you can use in Google, right?
Yeah.
So in the last week, we've seen that this doesn't work anymore. So we're not sure if it's just a little testing that they're doing or it's a temporary, but we'll continue to follow up on that.
Excellent. And what about with regards to the new URL to remove sponsored ads?
So they changed the structure of the URLs recently, and so for example, if you post different parameters in the URL, like popularity, for example. As soon as you have a parameter that is an extra in the URL, it will remove all sponsored ads. So this allows you, again, when you do a search, and we use that for programmatically, especially when you want to narrow down the results, to see, for example, the number of sponsored ads. So that's very useful. You do a search for the whole results, and you get a number, and then you do another one with an extra parameter like relevance, for example, in the URL. Sponsored ads will not appear, and then you subtract that, and you see how many sponsored ads appear on the page.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this URL, the structure of that changed. So it's an indication that they're working on, and many other URLs also changed in that time. Like a few weeks ago, they renamed the URL that was useful for taking the exact and broad volume from Amazon, yeah. Right? So they discovered that we're using this, so they renamed it. Luckily for us, Traian Turcu find out a new URL, and then later we found another one as a backup. So for now we're safe. We can provide daily information on the exact volume.
Yeah. Are you talking about where they closed the loop, where there was, is it you go into the headline search ads, and if you look it up through Chrome, you're yes. able to see the search volume that was there for a period of time, and that's the loop that they closed, yeah?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. And in terms of the list versus grid, they've changed that URL. Do you want to go into that as well?
So I just checked that today, so this is already old news, so they changed it so fast. Yeah. So the trick was that sometimes you receive a grid view, and sometimes you receive a list view, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't like the grid view, you can type percentage in the URL, yeah. in the search bar, next to your keyword, and it will display list view versus grid view.
Cool. Sounds good. One of the outstanding things that that's probably going to cause a little bit of controversy is the timestamps that have been added to some of the super URLs, and then we'll talk about giveaways in a moment. But do you want to just walk us through the timestamps for the super URLs?
Yeah. So we all know that the old super URL, like for 2 years ago, it's not working anymore. So you will not get any ranking because Amazon knows that the timestamp is generated. So they added an extra parameter, which will be in addition to the timestamp, so they know if you're manipulating the system or not. So few of the big ranking companies related to Amazon that do giveaways. So eventually, they have like coupon code rebate websites, right, with a lot of members, and you post your product in there, and they do the giveaways, so you can rank for specific keywords. So we noticed that few of these companies that use the old URLs will not work anymore unless they update their way of doing it, because Amazon actually start adding these two extra parameters in the URL so that they can track if it's coming organically from Amazon or from outside source. Right. So for me, that was an indication that they're already after the fact that people are trying to manipulate ranking through giveaways.
Yeah.
Right. And it's logical after everything that happened with the reviews, and what happened, like they're filing a lot of lawsuits and stuff against even Fiverr providers. I know people who've been doing review services on Fiverr, and they got lawyer letters from Amazon.
Yeah.
So eventually, I believe with all the manipulation on the giveaways, they will have to make a move, because the two things are only important on Amazon. One is the buyer, a happy buyer, and the other one is the value of the marketplace. Mm-hmm. When you do a giveaway, buyer is happy, but the marketplace, the value of the marketplace goes down. Right? So Amazon, I'm pretty sure soon they'll do something about it.
Yeah. Because
the whole exercise with the reviews, for example, it was all about bringing the value in the marketplace back, the trust of the buyers, in the reviews.
Yeah.
So they'll have to do something about the giveaways as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, my counter to that with like what we discussed off call is that, obviously Anthony Lee's in a strong position in the sense that he stays on the cutting edge and what they're doing with Six Leaf. And then you've got Casey Goss with what they're doing. They're probably obviously going to shift and move. But if Amazon does shut that area down on giveaways, I think we're all going to know about it eventually because they do so many giveaways. It's either going to come crashing to a halt or they're going to adjust what they're doing. But it does make a sense that we kind of discussed this off call as well, is that where people have been doing giveaways and it's almost like they're being penalized for it. We already know the effectiveness of giveaways has seemed to have changed in terms of the distance it takes to give items away. Especially in the US market in competitive categories, that's become less effective. But it'd be interesting to see what Amazon makes a move next, in a sense that, like you said, where they're adding these parameters and what they're adding now, what the effects it's going to have on the algorithm for ranking, and what is going on with this. It's almost like being penalized. Some people could be at the bottom of page 1, they do a giveaway, and suddenly they find themselves on page 2. What's your take on that?
Yeah, so we don't know exactly why they do initially that. So for sure, they're collecting information on companies that do giveaways and how people use organically giveaways, right?
Yeah.
If you think about the first rule on Amazon, the happy buyer, giveaways make total sense, right? Because people are looking for the best price, and a lot of what's happening on Amazon, like the late storage fees now that they'll be charged monthly, all of that will force a lot of sellers to give away a lot of products. Mm-hmm. And this actually makes sense for the first rule, a happy buyer. A lot of people will find very good deals on Amazon just because of that. It makes total sense that, but on the other side, we talk about the market value. So if everyone starts doing these massive giveaways, like giving away like thousands of units, just so they can rank on the first page, this doesn't mean that it's a good product and the buyer will have a good experience, because it could be a crappy product, and then the value on the marketplace was going down, mm-hmm. right? Six Leaf, it's probably my favorite company. I love these guys. So they're doing it this way now. They will start doing it another way, because sales velocity, it will always stay as an algorithm. It's been there for 20 years, and it will continue to stay. So how you do sales velocity, it can be in a number of different ways. Not necessarily to be a giveaway, right? There are many other creative ways of doing that. So the way we're doing this will change according to Amazon for sure.
Yeah, because obviously with social media coupons and stuff like that, Amazon's trying to take back, isn't it? It's almost like they want to control the whole ecosystem. And obviously, I don't know where it's debatable or not, and it's not keyword related, but the halo effect that you'll get from lightning deals and things like that. So there are going to be other ways of doing things, and that our job is to stay ahead of the curve and see what's coming in next, isn't it? Because obviously, whenever we've seen anything where they've closed a loop, like you said, every time a loop closes, a new one opens, and as long as there's people being creative and testing, it should keep everyone in good stead in terms of ranking and creating visibility. But I back you there on the products, because if you think about like the keeping the quality in the marketplace, when you put out a product, you can fall in love with your own product. And if you're just starting out, you might have the shittiest product in the world, but you might think it's amazing because that is your first product. I remember my first products. They were shit. I look back on them now, but now that I'm more versed, I've had wins, I've had failures. I know what a good product is versus a shit product. And I think what happens sometimes is the artificial inflation of getting you onto page 1 and then it not sticking. The reason it's not sticking because the product's simply not good enough in most cases, or the price point doesn't fit the market either.
I always give that example for Google search. Like 10 years ago when they removed the duplicate content. Remember, so you type a keyword and then you get the exact same results 10 pages in a row, right?
Yeah.
So for the buyer, for the searcher, it's terrible experience.
Yeah.
So they quickly realized that they removed it. So Amazon is a little behind always, right? But eventually they catch up, right? So it's all about a good experience for the buyers. So.
And for us, the sellers, this year, 2018, I think the key word for this year, if you think about it as an Amazon seller, relevance is everything.
So this is what happened recently, which is probably the most exciting news this week.
Yeah.
Is we noticed that before there was one index for the keywords, and now we identified up to 4 indexes, which are completely different.
But break down what you mean by the 4 indexes.
Yeah, so just for people who don't know what is index, so index is basically a vector between a listing and a keyword.
Yeah.
So if you type a keyword, it leads to an ASIN, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So historically, how we've tracked indexing is by typing a unique identifier, like a UPC code, for example, and then followed by a keyword. And this narrowed down the results to your exact listing. So you'll be able to see, do you appear in search or not?
Yeah.
So this now changed. And the way they changed it is that, example, we have now the what's called Amazon's Choice badge, right? So Amazon's Choice looks like they have a completely different index for Amazon's Choice badge. Mm-hmm. So even if you're not organically indexed for the keywords that they assign to that Amazon's Choice badge, you can still appear in search. You see? So the keyword, for example, is not relevant to the listing, but just because you bought it using Alexa, assigned these keywords to the product, and now they appear in search.
Yeah.
So the same happens with PPC ads. Mm-hmm. So you can bid on a not very relevant keyword that organic is not indexing, but you made sales using these keywords, using PPC, and Amazon assigned these keywords to that specific PPC index.
Right.
So, for example, you search for something on Amazon and you type 3 words and then you see a result. But then you type the same keywords with an ASIN in front and the result is not there.
Yeah.
So this is how right now they separate, probably for testing purposes also, and for them internally, to know which keyword actually gets juice for ranking, which one from PPC, I mean, which one gets the juice from Amazon, from Alexa, and so on, right?
Yeah. So everything's into subdivisions now. That's interesting. So there isn't like this one global index that everyone assumed there was. It's now partitioned into what you're saying. What you're seeing is that there's at least 4 of them.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Is there anything you want to add before you go?
So, yeah, if you want to join the Orange Hat movement, you can go to orangehatsummit.com. And if you're curious on exploiting new loopholes and stay, informed about.
Do you want to tell them about the Facebook group as well? Because you've got a Facebook group as well, is that right?
Yeah. So, or you can join the Facebook group on the Orange Hat Hackers. Yeah. So.
And the event, what's the date of your event coming up?
The event is coming 23rd of August.
Yeah.
In Montreal, Canada.
Excellent. And is there any tickets left last minute?
Probably there are a few tickets left last minute. So
cool. And what's the best way someone can reach you directly, like if they want to contact you about like RiverClean, the software, etc.?
If you want to have questions with me directly in the Facebook, I'm trying to answer every question that I get.
Yeah.
Or you can email me at Ivelin@rivercleaner.com.
Excellent. Ivelin, thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to getting you back. Maybe we'll get an update in a month or so time. Guys, thank you for joining us. If this is your first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you again in a few days' time. Take care.